Welcome back to the ... podcast. We have a great show today. My really good friend Ian O'Connell, who is the former drummer for the band Happy Endings out of Springfield, Missouri, and currently the owner of Salon Metric in Lee Summit, Missouri. And Ian and I go a long way back, and due to moving around and things like that, it's kind of hard to keep touch with people. But I got a chance to sit down with him and kind of rehash the past and see where he's at in his life. And, he's got a really interesting story. He probably got closer to the whole rock star game than anybody could ever imagine. And then right there at the 1 yard line, everything kind of fell apart. So he's got a really interesting story about, kind of being resilient from that. Now he's living his best life. And it's just great catching up with him. So without further ado. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ian O'Connell. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. Big wild day of a 9-year-old birthday party and winding down now.
You said you went to like a trampoline park or something?
Yeah, it's called Sky Zone. It's like a place the size of Walmart that has trampolines everywhere.
Did you do any
kids galore?
Did you do any like flips and stuff on your own?
No, I've retired from my flipping.
I remember, we'll get into it later, but I remember some like slam dancing into mattresses in a hotel room in Michigan.
Oh yes,
during a blizzard.
That was amazing.
That's probably the
video footage of that somewhere.
I found like a really crappy version of the video that me and Hansel stitched together from some of those tours. But technology has come so far, like these files they're massive, but the resolution was horrible. So like, I don't know, you watch it on any platform, it just looks like trash. So
that's one of, I actually forgot about that until just now.
Yeah, I know. It's good times.
It's
though.
all rushing back. Yeah.
That was the heyday of your flipping days.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't the one doing the flipping. I was the one making little flip.
Right. Yeah. Of course. I mean, he's tiny and it's easy. And
right.
we can talk about the body glove and all that good stuff later. So, we're gonna do is we're gonna knock out some icebreakers.
Okay.
So I got like 4 really generic questions. So
okay.
The idea behind these is just go not like rapid speed, but just the off the cuff answer that you come up with. So what's your favorite place you've ever been?
Oh man. Favorite place I've ever been. Maui.
It is beautiful.
No, let me rewind. Jamaica.
Jamaica?
Yeah.
Where in Jamaica did you go?
Alter and I got married in Negril.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool.
I think I prefer Maui. When I was in where did I go in Jamaica? I went to Falmouth, however you want to say that.
Jamaica?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's actually their capital or something. Don't quote me on that.
I thought Kingston's the capital.
Maybe. I don't know. We took a cruise and we got off there and it was weird. Like they had these like fake fronts on the buildings to make them look like it was a nice city. And they were like scrims from like, a concert. And behind the scrim were these just dilapidated buildings and tons of poverty. So I wasn't blown away by it, but I'm glad you were.
Yeah, we've been there 3 times now.
Oh, really?
That's pretty awesome. The culture's so cool. The people are awesome. Kind of like, how you were talking about the Japanese culture.
Yeah.
The Jamaicans, they have nothing and they're so happy. Like us Americans, we have everything and more, and we're like, we can find something to bitch about. And,
yeah. Any day of the week.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So next question: do aliens exist?
No.
You don't think so? You think we're alone?
I think yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe I don't want to think they exist.
Right. I think
maybe I want to think that we're safe here.
I think it's kind of a weird taboo topic. Obviously, like I got really bored and like watched some interview with Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. He went like off the rails with it, you know.
Oh yeah, there's like some deal with he's got like a documentary or something out of over it, hasn't
It's a lot deeper than that, man. Like he's like dialed in with officials from within the government, and he's been told secrets that, or so he says, you know. And I found it fascinating just for conversation's sake, and tried to talk to Lacey about it, and she shut me down so fast. Like she's like, I just don't care about that stuff. I'm not interested. So I think it's just kind of one of those things that you're really into, or you're really not, you know.
he? Yeah, we're 2 or 3 episodes into this Will Smith documentary on Netflix, like One Crazy Rock or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of touching on like if we're here, why isn't there anybody else out there? I don't know. It's just kind of weird, and I like knowing that I'm safe here and no
Yeah.
alien life form is gonna come take over my world.
Perfect. Okay. Question number 3. Celebrity that you most identify with. Not necessarily meaning like you try to emulate that person or anything, but you kind of look at them and you might think, I think that we'd be good friends.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah? Really? Is it because he wears all those necklaces and rings and stuff?
It's because I think he's like the coolest guy ever. Maybe that. Well, I guess I didn't really answer your question. He's the guy that I want to hang out with the most.
Yeah.
Because I think that we'd have a lot of fun together.
Yeah. Valid. Very valid. All right. Moving on. The best binge watch of your life.
Oh man. Best binge watch of my life. I'd say we just got over it, and it was Schitt's Creek.
Really? Is that the one with Eugene Levy?
Yes.
Yeah.
The dad from American Pie.
Yeah, and like what's the mom from
From Home
right?
Alone? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the son in the series is actually Lucky's real life son, like his biological son.
Really?
Yeah, it's hysterical. You got to watch it.
That's
It's
what
great.
Lacey mentioned it to me, saying it was really good. But I'm stuck in some other show right now that I'm hoping to finish up here in a couple weeks.
We watched 4 seasons of Schitt's Creek in probably 10 days.
Wow.
10 to 14 days, yeah.
That's aggressive. You were getting after it. Huh?
Yeah. Well, it's every night from 8:30 when the kids go to bed till midnight or so.
Yeah.
We just hammer through them. And some of the episodes are only like 15 minutes without commercials and stuff. And
Oh, really?
it goes pretty quick, yeah.
It's kind of like sitcom style, like 30-minute shows or whatever.
Yeah, and it was like on the CBC, so on Netflix they cut out the commercials, and some are just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you can watch 6 or 7 in a night easily. But it's really funny.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
I think the one before that was probably Dexter.
Oh yeah. Until he turned into a lumberjack, but
Right.
you know,
Well,
that
was a weird deal.
That's never here nor there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's 2 schools of thought on that one. I thought the show was amazing though. Definitely agreeing with you on that one.
Right.
Okay, so I kind of gave a little brief synopsis before we started all this, so everybody kind of has an idea who we're talking to here. But give me your version. Give me your life in 3 minutes.
My life in 3 minutes. Wow. So I was born in Chicago, moved to a town outside of Springfield, Missouri. I grew up the youngest of 4 kids. My dad asked me what I wanted for my birthday. I was probably, 6 years old, I think, 7 years old. And I don't remember exactly what age, but anyways, I told him I wanted a drum set. And he, for my birthday, gave me an electronic drum set that was in the shape of Mickey Mouse's head. So like each ear was like a cymbal, and like the nose was the snare drum, and so he gave it to me, and I don't remember a ton from when I was that age, but I remember being super sad that it wasn't a real drum set. Like,
well, you didn't specify.
No, I wanted a real drum set. So the next day, he took it back to the music store, returned it, and got me an actual real drum set. And fell in love with playing drums and music in general. Was never a good student in school. Kind of just did the bare minimum to get by. I met through a kid that I went to high school with. I met Mickey, was the guitar player of Happy Endings. Met him at at this mutual friend of ours concert in Springfield. This was in 1999, maybe 2000. And met him. He gave me a demo and took it home, listened to it, said, "Yeah, let's try this out." Joined the band with them in probably 2000, and met you and a whole bunch of other awesome people through that. Did everything we could to try to make it, with the air quotes on the "make it" thing. I don't really know what making it is, but we tried.
Right.
Got signed with J Records, Clive Davis in 2004. Did that whole deal, recorded a record with Bob Rock, who I'm sure all of your listeners know exactly who that is. That was amazing. And then we got dropped from the record company because everybody wanted to listen to hip hop and R&B and stuff, which is, dumb.
Bad move. Yeah, really dumb.
So then we tried again. Our A&R rep left J Records and went to A&M. Left J, went to A&M. Tried that. He said, I believe in you guys. I want this to work, but I have to get the rest of the team behind it. There was a couple manager changes throughout this transition as well, and at the end of the day, we just decided that, or we and A&M all decided that it just wasn't going to work. So let's move on with our life. But in 2005, I had some time off and I went to hair school and became a hairstylist as a backup plan. So now, fast forward to 2008, met my wife. I met my wife in 2005. 2008, got married, had a kid. I opened a hair salon of my own. I now have 10 employees, and we just actually won Best Salon in Lee Summit, Missouri, which is a suburb of Kansas City, in 2017. And
Again?
Yeah.
Because I think last time I saw you, you guys had that accolade again, right?
Yeah,
so you guys just keep winning, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So now I have 2 kids, and living in the burbs, doing the thing.
You got you got a golden doodle or anything?
We actually, it's I'm so sad about it right now, but yeah, we actually have a Cavapoo,
A what?
which is it's the thing. It's a half King Charles Cavalier, half poodle.
Oh, awesome!
So it's kind of like a golden doodle, but it's a Cavapoo.
Yeah.
And this dog is a freaking superhero, and he actually had surgery on Friday, and he's in the hospital right now.
Oh, really?
He had a bowel obstruction, and whatever was in his small intestines all got clogged up, and he was puking for 4 days and wouldn't eat and couldn't poop and wouldn't drink water, and
wow,
it was a bad deal. So we finally took him in on Friday, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, I think we need to." Took X-rays, and nothing was moving one way or the other. So they had to do surgery on him, and we were supposed to pick him up Saturday morning, but the doctor called and said we want to keep him over the weekend. So he's only 6 months old. He's a puppy.
Oh, guy. Wow. That's really weird to have that kind of problem at that age.
Yeah. So
I only asked that because I only ask if you got the golden doodle because it just seems like it's the trend now. Lacey and I have
it is.
We have a golden doodle. We've had him for it's almost been 6 years now, I think. And it just, when we first got him, everybody was like, "What is that? What is that? What kind of dog is that?" And now everybody's got some sort of poodle mix. So
yeah, a doodle.
Yeah, oodles of doodles. So
is yours a mini or a full grown?
No, he's full grown. He's 70 pounds. He's a big old ball of hair. And my sister got one, and he got huge. Like he was like 85 pounds or something like that.
Oh wow!
Super tall, and they're great dogs though.
You'll appreciate this. Marshall is the name of our Cavapoo,
Awesome.
and we wanted a musical name for this dog. So Tara and I narrowed it down to two names. It was Marshall or Motley for Motley Crue.
Yeah.
So then we let our kids pick, and they picked Marshall. And then fast forward 2 days, and we realized that that's the name of the dog from the Paw Patrol show.
Oh, really?
So they did not name our rock star dog after the Marshall Stack. They named it after Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol, of course. Yeah. I mean, you gotta dial into their world.
Right.
Like,
well,
I think my son Gibson, he figured out that he was. I mean, he's not named after a guitar, but it's kind of again the musical inspired thing.
right.
He realized that, and he just kind of went with it. He's like, "That's really cool."
Right.
All right, so let's rewind a little bit. Like we got the idea of who you are, where you came from. You said, I think you and I have talked about this before. I just don't remember the details. Where in Chicago were you born?
Elmhurst. Well, actually, Hinsdale.
Oh, okay.
I was born in at the time was Hinsdale Sanitarium, which was a mental institution. Shocker. But because my parents couldn't afford like healthcare or like hospital bills or anything, so it was kind of like a student program. So I was basically delivered by psych ward students.
Psych ward students.
Well, like residents, I believe
Yeah.
that were like working there at the time. So,
Getting
but I
the
lived
residency.
in Elmhurst. Yeah.
Okay. How long did you guys live there?
Oh, not too terribly long. Probably 6 years or so.
Okay.
Well,
Wow. So we weren't too far from each other because I grew up.
you're in Naperville, right?
Sort of around the time you were there, because you and I are pretty much the same age. I think we got about a year.
I'm
or two between.
37.
Yeah, I'll be 37 in like 2 weeks. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was born in Park Ridge, lived in Buffalo Grove, and then when I was like maybe 3 or 4, we moved to Glen Ellen, and then we only lived in Glen Ellen for a couple of years, and then I moved to Naperville. So, kind of just bounced all over the Chicagoland area.
Nice.
So you already established your dad got you drums,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a thing with you for forever, and you figured it out, obviously. So were you a lesson kid, or were you a self-taught kind of guy, or what?
Well, my dad just my dad's a musician to start, and a really, really good one too.
Right, yeah.
And so, just jamming with him and stuff. And then he started me lessons with a guy named Tim Pope. Timothy Big Sticks Pope was his stage name.
Sticks, folks. Sticks. Big sticks.
Big Sticks, yeah. He played with a whole bunch of people, but at the time he was Tony Orlando's drummer.
Oh, wow.
Which sounds kind of cheeseball, but the dude is a freak of nature. I mean, absolutely incredible. He's a mind-blowing drummer, but then he plays piano and sings, which he's actually a better singer and piano player maybe than he is a drummer.
Really?
Just one of these guys that's salt of the earth, would do anything for anybody. And as a kid wanting to be a drummer, watching this guy play was something that I will never, I'll never see or feel that. It'd be like, a kid that wants to ride a motorcycle, see like,
Travis Pastrana or something.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. And I remember the first lesson that I ever took with him, I walked in thinking I was going to learn like how to be, Tommy Lee.
Right.
And he, for literally 1 hour, had me do this foot exercise, like a left foot, right foot exercise. I didn't touch a drumstick the entire first lesson.
Really?
And I left there, and my calf muscles and like the front of my calf, like my shin muscle,
Yeah.
were burning,
Oh, I bet.
on fire. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I think that's something that a lot of people take for granted, is like the conditioning that a drummer needs,
Oh yeah.
There's a punk rock band that I grew up listening to called No Use for a Name.
Oh
And,
yeah.
they're like one of the Fat Records bands that, 100 mile an hour drum beat. It's pretty much the same drum beat for every song on every album. But
Right.
I met them one time. I think their drummer's name is Rory, and his right shin was easily twice as big as his left
Right.
because he only played single pedal, So, and then not to mention, it's just, if anybody's ever played drums, it's a workout within the first couple minutes. It's no joke, especially in the rock world, maybe not so much for jazz guys, but yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I was never fast, as you know. I hit them hard, and I can count to 4, and that's about it.
I think hitting hard is sort of an understatement with you, though.
Well, I like to think so.
Yeah, it was like you were waging war. It was like murder.
If you have to win.
It was right. Yeah, absolutely. But I always thought it was kind of funny because like you were the dude just annihilating drums to love songs.
Yeah.
So I say all that. So you got involved with Happy Endings. You met all those dudes, and you guys started playing. So I moved to Springfield from Southern California, and to my knowledge, there was no music scene there whatsoever. And at the time, one of my favorite bands was Superdrag. And
okay, yeah.
I had met my ex-girlfriend and Philip Bermude, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the juke joint tonight." I was like, "What's that? That sounds retarded." And they're like, "Well, there's a band playing there. They're called Superdrag. Like they're from the '90s." I was like, "Say again? What?" I was totally stoked because finally, I'd been there like 2 months and there wasn't anything to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we went, and you guys were opening for them.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw you guys. And
wow, that was early. That was probably what, 2001 or 2, maybe. Was Little in the band at that point?
No.
Okay.
I remember Little joining much later. So yeah, you guys were pretty new. I mean, Mickey was still jacked. That was back when he was gaining, before he was juiced, before he trimmed down. He looked like Mr. Incredible,
Mickey is Mr. Incredible,
well,
by the
yeah,
way.
I mean, yeah, it's just,
Guy's a super stud.
Super stud. But yeah, I remember seeing you guys there, and I don't remember like when I first started hanging out with you guys or like officially met you, but because I noticed you guys were like the band there, and I always like saw you guys doing like your choreographed jumping and stuff like that, and but
I never jumped.
You didn't.
Let's just be clear. I never choreographed anything.
But yeah, I remember seeing you guys, and you guys definitely, you had something about you that I remember thinking, wow, this band's like really turning a lot of heads. It wasn't necessarily my thing, stylistically at the time or anything, and
right.
But I remember being really impressed with how you guys are able to work a crowd, and I think that's one thing that always lended itself to you guys doing so well is you guys definitely played for the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that? Was that like
absolutely?
Was that like a model like that? Was you guys were definitely entertainment based? You definitely wanted to make sure you were being entertaining.
Well, I'll speak for me personally. I always wanted to entertain people because that's what we all go to shows to do, is be entertained, right? Like,
right.
I don't like to go there and watch a band that like stares at their shoes the whole time.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
There's a fine line between entertaining and being a cheeseball, and I feel like we kind of towed the line of like we want to entertain people and be together not only musically but like performance wise as well.
Right. So you guys I think you guys were the first band I had ever met that like it was very obvious that you had almost like two different practice schedules. You'd have practice where all we're doing here is we're fine tuning songs, we're writing, we're working on how well we play them, and then we have another one where we have to get ready for the gig.
Yeah, we pretend that there's a crowd in front of us, and we actually like play the show.
Right. I remember seeing that, and it obviously was, it was of benefit for you guys, I would say.
No, yeah, I think for what we were at the time in that little town, if you wanted to see a show that a band that performed and like was running all over the place and going crazy, that's that was the band. And there was other bands in Springfield that did a great job at it as well. But I feel like we really kind of just wanted to be a live band. We never wanted to be a studio band or a singles band. We wanted to be a live rock and we're all rock and roll fans.
Yeah.
In that band, and we wanted to be a live performance band. We didn't want to. We didn't want to do fly dates and one-offs. We wanted to be on the road, playing 300 shows a year, and like we wanted to be a rock band.
And I think you guys definitely, rose to the occasion. More than anybody else in the town. I think your shows like definitely spoke to that. I mean, I remember just so I it's just so everybody that's listening understands. I played in another band that played with Happy Endings at shows and stuff like that, but we also became friends, and they were kind of just like the bigger band, and I think they needed some help just because of the complexities of their show, and I just wanted to hang out with my friends, and I was a dork for gear and stuff, so me and my friend Adam, and then eventually our friend Hansel ended up just kind of floating in like, hey, what time are you guys going to load in all your stuff for your show today? And then, next thing I know, we were helping out, and then we'd go on the road with you guys and stuff like that. And, help out with rehearsals and stuff. And it's weird. Like those are some of my favorite music memories, not necessarily always playing and touring myself, but, just getting to interact with you guys. Cause at the end of the day, it was just me with my friends, it was,
right.
It was carefree and it was fun, and you guys were doing big things in it, it was cool just to feel like it was a little tiny piece of a part of that,
Right. Well, I tell stories all the time, and my wife had actually said at one point, like, everything that all your stories have nothing to do with what town you were in or the venue you were playing. It's about hanging out with the guys before, during, or after the show.
Absolutely.
Like, none of the story. I have zero memories about a specific dude. We killed that song at that venue at that night. No, it was. Do you remember? Being pulled behind the van with this holding up the jumper cables when Brandon was riding a skateboard.
Right.
Like that's the stuff we remember.
Yeah, and I think that's just part of growing up, honestly, and
right.
And maturing a little bit. Like me being in the military. You always hear people say there's like a saying. They always say that the people make the assignment, not the location.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is. It's the people that you interact with that make the memories, and they give value to everything.
Right.
So, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, you guys did the hometown hero thing, and toured regionally, and then you guys got some attention from the industry, if you will. So I know how it works. I've definitely, because I was chasing it myself, but also being intimately involved with you guys around that time. What's explain the courtship process? Like what cards need to fall in line for a band to get to the point where they can sign a record deal with Clive Davis at that echelon?
Well, I mean, it's the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Like you can sell out venues and you can write great songs, but if you don't know people who can get you the next step, right, you'll never get there. So yeah, we got a good Midwest following. Brannon knew a guy who was in the band, the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Okay.
Who some of the listeners may or may not know. Song called Jockey Blue, and if you want to get to heaven, you got to cause a little hell and stuff like that. So another Springfield native they're from Springfield.
They were like the original. They were like kind of like one of the only bands
rock,
to make
like
it.
70s rock. I mean,
yeah, they were like the diamond in the rough from
right.
They were the hometown heroes.
I mean, if you don't know Jackie Blue, we might need to end this podcast now. Like, I mean, ooh, Jackie Blue.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying the other people. If they don't know this, you should turn it off.
Okay. Okay.
Or go on Spotify and listen to that song right now because it's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Yeah.
So Brandon knew personally John Dillon is his name from the Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and he introduced us to our very first manager, and that guy introduced us to a guy named Frankie Larocca, who was an amazing drummer in his own right. Rest his soul.
He passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 2005, I think, right after we signed the record deal. So
That is right. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Frankie has ties to the New York Dolls and Bon Jovi, and he was the producer for the Spin Doctors, a whole bunch of people. So our very first manager gave the demos to Frankie. Frankie, liked the music and all the stuff, and kind of reached out to me. We had a pretty good relationship through that whole deal, and ended up giving it to James Diener, who was the A&R guy for J Records, and Clive heard it, and it was kind of one of those things. It was kind of a whirlwind once it started. We went to New York. Well, rewind. Before this, we Fool's Face from Springfield, who was another really good band in the 80s. Jim Wirt was the bass player, who was the producer, who went on to be the producer for No Doubt Tragic Kingdom album and Incubus Science he produced.
Never heard of them. Were they big?
Fool's Face?
No, I'm talking like No Doubt and Incubus.
Right.
little dog and pony show, right?
Yeah, and then like Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, and I mean he was involved with so many something corporate. I meant not Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. That was way before that. So yeah, it produced all these awesome bands. He's also from Springfield, so we had a demo deal with Hollywood Records, which is Disney, and went to LA with Jim and did a 4-song demo, and that never worked out.
So what is a demo deal?
So basically, Hollywood Records brought us to LA for however many days, and we recorded these songs, and if they liked it, they'd sign us. If not, we got to walk with.
They get first dibs.
Right.
Okay.
They pay for the songs, they pay for the recording, and basically, if we like it, we'll take you. If not, have fun.
Right.
So that's what we did before this. That was probably in 2003, I would bet.
Okay.
Met with these guys, which it was so cool because we got to record in Sound City, which, I mean, everybody, it was amazing. Super cool. We also recorded at 4th Street Studios in Santa Monica, which is where Incubus Science was made, and No Doubt Tragic Kingdom was made there. That very first Something Corporate album was there. It's Jim Wirt's home studio. He owns the studio. So it was super cool to record in both those rooms. I recorded the drum tracks at Sound City, and then we did all the overdubs at 4th Street Studio, and super cool. Like, I think I was maybe 18, 19 years old.
Right.
And then the 2004 stuff happened, and Frankie basically did everything and got the record in the right hands, and we went to New York. I think you were there, right? Did you?
I wasn't able to do the New York thing. I think Hansel went with you guys on that.
Hansel went for sure. I thought you were there too for some reason.
No, I couldn't go. I think you guys were like limited on space, and I had to work, so right. I think I stayed back. But I was like anxious on the phone. I was like texting everybody. It's like, I don't if you could text back then. I don't remember if you could text, but I was like, "What's going on? Tell me." I was just totally stoked for you guys because I could feel it happening.
It was the weirdest experience. So we're at SIR Studio in New York, and we're playing. We're sound checking. All of a sudden, somebody comes in. He's here. We're like, okay, who's he? Well, Clive Davis, obviously, duh. So he walks in and he's, the plastic chairs you sit at in like grade school,
Yeah.
like the metal chairs with a little plastic bottom and back.
Yeah.
So there's 10 people and Clive Davis is sitting in a chair, and it was probably our second song, maybe our third song. The back breaks on the chair,
Are you
and it
serious?
was, yeah, and it was instantaneous. Like some dude just like puts his hand down, and his hand becomes the back of Clive Davis's chair at this point.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, do we stop? Do we keep playing? Like, what do we do? So we just keep playing. And this kid, I'm assuming he's probably like an intern or like a somebody. I don't even remember who he was.
Yeah.
Literally holds Clive Davis's back the entire time we're playing.
Awkward.
Yeah, super weird.
That is weird.
So we get done playing. Hey, thanks.
Did it seem like he expected him to do that, or that just?
It just organically happened. Like
That's
it wasn't
so
like
weird.
it wasn't like a finger snapping kind of like
Right.
hand on back now. Just kind of like this is what we do. I mean, Clive Davis at this point was like he'd been 75 for 10 years. I mean, yeah. So we play the show. Everybody leaves. There was no like, wow, you guys are great. Nothing. We had no idea what to think. So everybody leaves, and we get a phone call, or this guy named Seth, who was James Diener's assistant at the time, gets a phone call saying, "Hey, we need you. Clive wants you in his office in like 30 minutes or whatever." So we hop in a car, we drive across Manhattan to the J Records office, and we go up. There's these huge like oak door, like double doors, like French doors into his office. They're probably like 12 feet tall, probably 10 feet wide, just massive, awesome. You're like, oh, this must be an important room. Well, it's Clive's office. So the funniest part of the whole thing is Hansel was with us, starts walking in with us, and Seth, who I just spoke about, grabs Hansel and is like, no, you're going to hang out here with us. It's hilarious. So we walk in, and Clive Davis proceeds to play us the Santana album that he did all those collaborations with, like with
Like Rob Thomas and everybody like that.
Rob Thomas, and what's the girl, Michelle Branch.
Oh, okay,
Wasn't there
yeah.
like a Michelle Branch song on that one?
Yeah, I mean it's 100 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, we listen to all this stuff, and we're like, okay, when are we gonna start talking about like us and doing this thing? So eventually got there, and a couple weeks later, James Diener called, I think it was on a Saturday or Sunday, called Brandon and said, hey, I want to come to Springfield and see you guys play at home. And I'm sure you're going to remember this night vividly.
Oh yeah. Tensions were high.
Yeah. We were like, okay, when do you want to do it? And he's like, well, I can be there Tuesday. We're like, you want to come to Springfield in like 3 days, and you want us to play a little showcase for you. He was like, yep. So we booked the Outland Ballroom, which on a Tuesday night in Springfield, Missouri, there was obviously nobody on the calendar. Which
you mean Speakeasy wasn't on the calendar? They play every night everywhere, right?
Right. So we booked this room, and it's capacity what, like 350, maybe 400 max.
It's like the medium sized room for the city.
Yeah, so 350 people. It's probably like a 1,500 square foot room, and it's upstairs above the High Life, which is a little like martini bar in Springfield.
I think it's actually like a cocaine superhighway now. So things have changed. I was talking.
He's not running it anymore.
I don't know, man. Like I was talking to Adam one time, and I was like 5 years ago. I think I was home on leave or something like that, and I said, "So what's going on with all the clubs and stuff?" And he was telling me, and then I said something about the High Life. He goes, "Oh yeah. You don't want anything to do with that place." And he goes, "There's more cocaine moving in and out of the front and back door of that place than you'll ever know." I was like, "Oh my god." So I don't know if that's true. So whatever.
Wow.
So anyway, he shows up for this showcase.
Yeah, we play. We booked this show like on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember what day of the week it is, but the show was on a Tuesday night, and in between Sunday and Tuesday we sold out the ballroom.
It's crazy.
Which was like, we thought we'd be lucky to have 100 people there on a Tuesday night, and it was sold out, and there was a line, and it was.
I don't think you guys were like. I don't think you were being bashful about it either. I think the fans were really like rallying.
They knew exactly what was going on.
They were all rallying behind you. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
things are starting to happen for this band. We really need your support.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. And Little was in the fraternity group there in Springfield at SMS, and those guys came out strong. Every friend and family member we knew, got a ticket, and it was all systems go.
Yeah.
So Diener, who was the A&R guy, James Diener, we all called him Diener all the time, and so Diener and Frankie flew in together to that show. And so the flight was delayed. They were supposed to be in at like 6 o'clock. We were going to have like a little dinner, hang out with them, and then like play the show, right? Well, they didn't land until like 9 o'clock. So we were supposed to go on at like 8:30, play for an hour, and be done. I don't even think we had an opening band, did we? I don't remember an opening band if there was one.
I want to say Pro-Am maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
So
I might be making that up.
Back to the story I was saying when I met Mickey from a mutual friend of mine from high school.
Right.
That was Poe from Pro-Am.
You know that Jason is Lacey's cousin, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So every time we go back, I just saw him like 2 months ago. And,
nice.
A little family get together thing. So small town.
Awesome. So Jason Poe is the common denominator between me and Mickey.
Yep. Okay.
From when we met all those years ago. So, anyways, basically just sitting backstage, pacing back and forth, waiting for Frankie and Diener to show up to the show. And from what I'm pretty sure I puked and then blacked out and then played the show and then came off stage and puked again. But I think we played pretty good.
You guys were always flawless. Like I never saw you guys like screw up or anything. So.
Well, I saw us screw up a few times. Come on, Corey. Remember that outside show in Nixa, like at the fairgrounds or something like that? We were playing on a flatbed trailer.
Yeah,
that show? You were there.
I don't remember it, but I just don't remember any. I don't remember any train wrecks.
Okay.
Like you guys were like the pro band, so if you had a little bit of an off night, you still did fine.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, so he shows up. He plays. Like, did he just like hang out at all, or did he just hightail it out of there?
I don't remember talking to him after the show. I remember seeing Frankie for a minute and gave him a hug, and that was kind of it.
Okay.
So then what was it? I got a call. I don't know. Brandon called and said, "Hey, let's meet at the practice space," or something like that. When it was like they actually want to sign us. Like this is happening, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Okay, what's next?"
Yeah.
And we record a record. We play a bunch of shows. Like, how does this work? So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you ink the deal, and then then comes now it's time to get to work. And I think a lot of people. I'll just kind of like give a little brief synopsis. A lot of people think like when you sign a major record deal that you're instantly a millionaire and the money starts flowing in, when in all reality there is a big dollar figure usually, but that serves as your budget to record the album. So what they do is they'll say, whatever the dollar figure is, here's a $500,000 to go record an album and shoot a video and get your gear in order to go hit the road because you guys are leaving in like whatever the time frame is.
Right.
And you would think that money, that's a huge sticker, but you're dealing with to put out a quality product, you have to be dealing with professionals. So you guys, as far as who you got involved with, like you mentioned earlier, you guys, your record was produced by Bob Rock,
Yep.
Who has, every credential under the sun in the rock world with, Motley Crue, Metallica, American Hi-Fi, and all those types of bands, and
Aerosmith, Cher.
Yeah, it's unreal. And then of all things on top of that, you guys recorded your album in Hawaii mostly, right?
Well, I did drum tracks at Sunset Sound in LA, which is, produced a couple thousand amazing albums.
Yeah.
And then, the guys did overdubs in Maui at Bob's house.
And his house is like, it's nothing to shake a stick at either, right? It's
no, it's not.
He's got a full-blown studio built up, and
you're on the top of this awesome hill looking out over the ocean with panoramic windows and like amazingness. And it's a full-blown, legit, top-notch studio with a big SSL board. And it's crazy.
I've got pictures somewhere that like I think you guys were like sending back to me and stuff with like rooms of the most exotic amps and like James Hetfield's guitars and
right.
Nikki Sixx's basses, and it's like it just seemed so surreal. You guys were just my buddies from back home that we used to goof around in the back of a van, and you guys are doing this super huge record, and with the promise of that too, you knew what was coming next. Like you record an album, you release an album, you start touring. And I know that the talk was that, hey, try to get your affairs in order, because when the time comes, we're gonna bring you on the road with us. And I was just ecstatic about that because, my band didn't work out, and like I said before, I was having more fun, working with you guys and kind of doing the technical thing than I was, trying to be in a band. Mm-hmm. So I was all on board for that. So you guys record the album, you come back, and then while the album is going through like the final, mastering and, packaging preparation and all that stuff, you guys kind of did some small tours, right? They kind of wanted to get you out there to feel some stuff out.
Yeah, we went out with a girl named Kate Vogel, who was on a show called One Tree Hill.
And this was like for her music career, right?
Yeah. We did, and then we did like Cold, which was kind of a weird deal for us, and another band called Five Speed, who, if you guys have never heard Five Speed, you should go. They had one album, I believe.
It was good too.
It was so good. They were amazing. I stood at the side of the stage watching them every single night. They were so good. I don't think anything ever happened with them. But that was a really odd tour for us to be on. Because it was two like heavier, like kind of rock bands, and then us, which kind of didn't make a ton of sense. Then we toured with Collective Soul for a while, which was super fun, and Josh Kelly was out on that tour, which we actually shared the bus with Josh, which was never a dull moment. And
that was like first time on a bus too. I remember that being That was just like, that was the coolest thing for everybody. We're like, wait, we don't have to sweat in the back of a cramped van and smell
Mickey
Cheetos.
Doesn't have to drive everywhere by himself.
Right, and we don't have to smell Cheetos and dirty feet. Like, I mean, we still smelled Cheetos and dirty feet, but at least it was in like $1 million bus, right?
Right, that was super fun.
So
playing a Wii tennis tournament while we're driving down whatever highway.
I remember we got to where were we at? I think it was like Rochester, New York, or Buffalo, or something like that. And we had like 3 days off for some reason, and literally just stayed on the bus on the side of the road. Parked in front of like a really nice hotel, and man, those are like
we went inside and showered in the hotel, and then came back out to the bus.
Yeah, exactly. Like those are some of the funnest nights of my life. But I remember we did the body glove.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? So the body glove, for anybody that doesn't understand what this is what happens when you get crazy bored in like, I don't know how many square feet a bus is. A bus is, it's big, but it's not.
It's probably like 40 feet long, 8 feet wide, maybe.
Yeah. But with couches and cabinets and stuff. So there's not a ton of room to
10
operate.
Other dudes.
Yeah. So it's a little cramped, but, so we were really, really bored one night, and we talked little into letting us body glove him, which is where, in this particular circumstance, myself, I would open my hand as big as I possibly could, and then I would hit him on the back as hard as I possibly could. And it makes all the blood come to the surface of the skin. Like, not like you're not like bleeding out, but it, obviously, you know, like the blood comes up. I don't know how to explain that. And then it makes the perfect logo of the original like 1980s body glove logo. I don't know. Just I always thought that was the funniest thing ever that he let me do that. But
hey, Little at that point, Little's one of my best friends in the world.
yeah, great.
Little
dude.
at that point, I was like, what is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think maybe like 5 or 16 Bud Lights may have been involved in that one.
Well,
Or
yeah.
Coors Lights.
And that was the first time that Happy Endings was drinking, really.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there was a little bit of a closet period, and then we were drinking.
Yeah. And it wasn't like full blown debauchery or anything crazy like that.
No, we weren't mainlining Jack Daniels like we're on the freaking Dr. Feelgood tour or anything, but
Right.
it was we you know, it was like, oh, we're adults and we're responsible people and this is fun. So yeah.
All these tours happen, albums locked, loaded, and ready to go. And then, like you said earlier, the unfortunate demise came and you guys got dropped from the label, or they decided to shelve the album, or whatever the terminology.
Well, the radio department did not think that we were radio worthy. So they didn't think the single was good enough or poppy enough or whatever, or we were too rock for pop radio, or we were too pop for rock radio, or you know, we were kind of in this middle area where we had good songs, but maybe not what they thought was good enough. And we were slightly aggressive, but we wrote pop songs. I don't really know what it was, but you know, we were happy with the album that we made, and our management and our A&R guy loved it. The entire company couldn't get behind it and push it through.
Right. Which unfortunately is a necessary evil.
Right. And you know, it didn't help us that just before we came out with this album and produced this album, Maroon 5 came out with their album, which just so happened to be on the same record company that we were on.
Right. So they were using probably a lot of the, analysis
ton of
and
yeah.
Well, they're probably using a lot of
the money.
Well, the capital, but also think about like they were probably looking at the analytics of that, like
right.
thinking,
True.
oh, well, this is what's flying off the shelves. And you guys didn't quite meet that mold, which it's so stupid for the entire music industry to think that like, ooh, we built a good thing. Let's go stamp out another one. Back in the days of like boy bands. Oh, wow. Backstreet Boys are great. We need another one. So they come out with NSYNC, essentially the same thing. It's just another company trying to capitalize on that. And I don't know. I get angry about it when I really think about it, because the consumer is, no, for lack of a better term, the consumer is stupid. Most people aren't such big music fans that they're out there trying to find something that really trips their trigger. Right. Most people are just okay with what comes on the radio. And I've seen that more in the military now that I'm part. So like the military is such a, it's like a sampling of the entire world put into like another small world. We're crazy diverse. Everybody comes from all over the country and we all have different interests and stuff like that. But one thing I notice in talking to people about music is very seldom, not never, but very seldom do I find somebody that I have, similar music taste with that I can line with. People are just like, oh yeah, I just listen to whatever's on the radio. I'm like, how can you do that? You know how much good stuff you're missing out on? Yeah.
Right.
We need to get you to the clinic immediately. There's got to be a pill for this. I think it comes in the form of like Aerosmith or Guns N' Roses. Yeah, that'll do it. Guns N' Roses will do it. Right. They'll bring you. So I mean, I just that breaks my heart, because I know what you guys had put into it, and I knew that you guys, like, if given the chance, you guys would have risen to the occasion tenfold, and I think you really would have turned some heads, because again, the consumer's stupid. So if they would have just gotten it on the radio, people would have bought it up. They would have, oh, I guess this is what I'm supposed to listen to. And
if I could go back and do it all over again, I don't know if I would have necessarily chosen Bob to do the record.
Really?
I think that's probably where we got a little skewed.
Okay.
I think that Bob tried to turn us into more of a rock band as opposed to being, some kids that love rock and roll that play music loud and mid-tempoed and all these things. But at the end of the day, Brandon writes pop songs. Like Brandon's an amazing songwriter and writes super catchy, very memorable pop songs. So if we would have went with somebody maybe stuck to our roots like Jim Wirt, who obviously writes or produces pop songs, like the No Doubt Tragic Kingdom is pretty stinking poppy. Maybe we would have been in a different situation. I think the album turned out a lot differently than maybe the four of us had planned, because Bob did what Bob does, which is make rock albums. Like that's his MO.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really freaking good at it. And I'm super proud of the album that we did, but I think that maybe that changed the direction we were going in.
Gotcha.
I feel like we were forcing pop songs to be rock songs.
I think, yeah, I could say that would be a safe assessment. I remember when it came back, there were a couple, when I first heard it, there were a couple songs I was interested. I was a little surprised at the direction that it went. It was just like a little bit more aggressive than I thought it would have been done up. So,
right. Like the fact that they wanted "Don't Get Better" to be the first single.
Yeah, because that's like really fast and aggressive, and yeah. I never really thought of it. I never really thought of it from that perspective. I mean, I remember you guys both, or I remember like talking to Mickey, because Mickey and I worked together at Springfield Music while you guys were just kind of in limbo. You were like in purgatory, waiting to find out what was going to happen.
Right.
And I remember the owner of Springfield Music was like, "Oh, I'm going to lose my 2 employees as soon as this record company pulls their head out of there." But like we'd have like meetings where they'd be like, "So Mickey, any news?" And Mickey'd be like, "No, nothing yet." And he was like, "All right, let me know, because you and Corey are going to be out of here as soon as it all fires off." And I just remember that being a really weird, tense time. And I just remember Mickey coming back all the time. Like, I was like, "Hey, bud, you hear anything?" And he's like, "No, they were doing some market testing and they weren't impressed with the results," or something like that. Like, I think that's what you were talking about, the radio department not thinking that it was going to do what they wanted it to do. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the album gets shelved, and then you guys, your management went after it. So just so everybody understands, when a record company, they put the money up to record this album that cost a fortune to make.
I can't even imagine how much that album cost to make.
Oh yeah, I can't even. Yeah, but they spent a fortune and they don't want to do anything with it. Right. So what did they do with that? Did they just record the most amazing self-released album in the world for this band for free? More often than not, the record company is going to claim that as their property. And
it's theirs forever.
They own it. It's the song. Like, and if you screwed up and sold the publishing, you can't even play the songs anymore. Mm-hmm. So, but I remember you guys had a really smart management team behind you. They went after the album and they were able to get it back for you, right?
Yeah, they found, I don't know if it was loopholes in the contract or if it was just Diener being a great guy and, going to bat for us, but we ended up getting rights to the album. They gave us the album. They said, "Okay, we'll release you from your contract. Here's your album. Great work. Sorry it didn't work out."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's definitely, you got to chalk that up as a W.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So you guys got to use that to take another swing. But as I remember it, the way the story kind of read, or the narrative of it, was pretty much like, as it was making its way onto the desk of other A&Rs, they're like, "Well, why do you have this big rock record produced by Bob Rock that Clive Davis doesn't want?"
Right. We were kind of damaged goods at that point.
Right. Everybody kind of wondered, I don't want to bet on something that he didn't want to bet on. Like, what's the hidden message here?
Yeah, if Mr. Clive Davis isn't willing to do it, why would I?
Right. And dude, like, I don't know that I ever like really expressed to you, like, I felt so bad for you guys it was almost like watching like a death, like it really was for me. Cause like I knew how hard you guys had worked. I knew how invested you were. I knew how hopeful you were. And to kind of to face reality of life that, hey, my plan and my direction is I have to change my course, and I have no idea. I think a lot of you guys have put so much into it. You didn't really know what to do. I mean, you like you said, you went to hair school and you had a backup plan, but I mean, that must have been a little bit of a hard pill to swallow that, okay, now I have to divert to my backup plan.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't.
At the time, I know we'll get into it in a minute. Like I know your life is great. Like, but there had to just kind of been a bummer season there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there was a time where I didn't want to do anything. Like, I wanted to try to be a rock star, obviously. Like, for the life of me, maybe I blocked it out of my brain or tried to forget it or whatever. But it's like, I don't remember the day that we all sat down and we're like, yeah, well, I guess this is it. It was fun. I remember the last show we played.
Yeah.
Which was super cool. But I don't even remember the day that we decided to call it quits. Like, I don't remember that conversation at all.
I don't know that it really ever did. At least like from my optic, like I remember there just being a little bit of we're gonna, I think you guys at that time were trying to play like once every 2 weeks or something like that out of town to kind of keep the wheels going. And then next thing I knew, it was like, it's been like 3 months since they've played a show.
Right.
And, I still worked with Mickey, and I could tell.
So you're saying the band's still together, technically?
As far as I'm concerned, let's do it.
I'm in.
But, like, I think I remember, I noticed Mickey kind of like with an uptick in what he was investing into Springfield music. And I think that's when I realized, ooh, I think it's done,
Correct. I might be wrong. I don't know exactly how old Mickey's oldest kid is, but he was either had a kid or was about to have a kid. Like, how old is his oldest kid?
I think I saw something that Janae, Mickey's like a ghost on social media. So
right. Well, I don't even have Facebook.
Right. I had to go to your wife to get you to do this interview. But yeah, like I think I saw Janae post something that his oldest kid's 10. But maybe not. Maybe I could be wrong. But either way, like I said, I could tell that he was investing. He was taking work more seriously.
Right.
Like I was usually the first person into work, and next thing I knew, Mickey was the first person into work, and he would be like the last one to leave. And I think Donovan, there was some conversation that happened where Mickey got like kind of a promotion. And I was like, how do you get promoted when you're about to leave? And I think it was just, again, man, it was like a death. I didn't want to talk to you guys about how you were feeling, because it was just like, they're there. Like, I don't know what to say. I knew you guys were heartbroken. So this is just an observation. And but then shifting gears, fortunately you did have that backup plan. You'd gone to hair school. You went to the Paul Mitchell School, right?
Right.
And I remember you started cutting hair somewhere, and you were turning a lot of heads with it. Like, and by that, I mean, like, everybody was kind of surprised that's the direction you took, but also were blown away at like how well you were doing with it. And I feel like I noticed that you got super invested in that, and it was going really well for you. So were you feeling that like kind of creative fulfillment by doing hair, or?
Yeah, I feel like it was definitely a creative outlet. Really at that point when I started school, it was kind of one of those deals where I have to do something. So what is that going to be? I worked at CNC Drum Company for a little while. I'd drive up to Kansas City, which, for those of you that don't know, CNC Custom Drums was the drum company that I was sponsored with. I think I got that deal in like 02 or 03.
Yeah. Right.
So I still, to this day, talk to Bill on a regular basis, living in Kansas City, and he's in Kansas City. But I came up and was working. He got a contract to build the acrylic Tama line for the Star Classic Tama line. They were building acrylic drums.
Yeah.
But Tama didn't feel like doing it, so they contracted CNC to build them for Tama. So I would come up and build the Tama drums, the acrylic Tama Star Classics for Bill. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I decided to go to hair school. Some people who I knew talked me into going, and yeah, it was creative, obviously. It was something that, a computer could never take my job, which now it turns out that a computer could take my drumming job.
It's so funny. It's so funny you say that, because I remember when Philip went to hair school, it was like typical, like stoner logic or whatever. Philip was like, I was like, so you're going to cut hair, man? And he's like, yeah. He goes, think about it though. And I was like, okay. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, robots, man. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, robots are taking over the world. They'll never take over cutting hair.
Right.
And it's so funny for him to have that logic. Like, that's the thought process that went into his head. And he's gone on to have a great career, in the,
he's
in
a
the industry.
stud. Yeah.
In the industry as well. So it cracks me up that you guys both kind of identified with that. You're drummers and you were intimidated by something that could possibly take your job. So you said, no way, no how, I'm going to cut hair because that's going to require a human hand, and nobody will ever put me out of work.
Look at what's happening with computerized drummers, right? Nobody has
yeah.
a real drum set on an album now.
No.
Nobody.
No. Like, nobody.
So,
and even on the recording side, I mean, even if you get somebody to actually hit something, it's all triggered and sampled in a way that, the idea of, playing in the right room with the right mics and,
right.
The skill behind recording drums, which is like the most ridiculous
It's
process
a whole mathematical equation in itself.
It's unreal. So anyway, you're cutting hair, and then you decide you're going to open your own business. Like that in itself, I'm really interested in this part of your story, because I kind of knew the past, and now these are getting into things that I don't really know. Okay. So that's a big thing, man. Like being a business owner. I'm in the military because I like it, I guess. It's not what I wanted to do with my life, but I'm good at it. It serves its purpose. But dude, I'm terrified to leave it, because I have like the job security I have, and the, they set an expectation, I deliver, and I do well, So whereas, with, starting your own business, you're kind of going into the unknown. You don't know what mistakes to avoid. You don't know how to course correct all the time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's just trial by error, so right. First of all, congratulations for being so successful at your first swing, because not everybody is that fortunate. But so how did that all come to fruition, and what were some of the hurdles you had to get over? Sorry.
Okay. So I moved to Kansas City in 2000, oh man, 6. I worked at a salon up here for almost 5 years, and for a guy named Saif Alohi, who's one of my mentors in life still to this day. Great guy. I would do anything to be as good of a person as he is. So I worked for him for almost 5 years. He, business wasn't working out for him. He's the creative guy, not the business guy.
Gotcha.
So I looked into buying his business from him somehow, just because, I want to be a part of this guy's life. He's got a great thing going. He just doesn't know how to manage people and these things. And I didn't really at the time either, but I feel like I could have.
Right.
So I looked at looked at all the books and looked at all the things, and it mathematically it just didn't make sense. So he closed, and I looked at a few buildings and found this little corner space downtown Lee Summit in this cool, quaint, kind of almost like vintagey downtown area. And I said, "Yeah, let's do this." I got, the safe closed, and I got some people that need a job, and let's go. I had no idea what I was doing when I started. Like, I had no clue. I had some money that I'd saved up over the last 6 or 7 years, and I could barely scrape by. And fortunately, my wife Tara is the smartest, most successful woman I know, and has a great job that could support us through this. And I just kind of went all in.
It's
And I
awesome.
think the staff that I had at the time, that I still have almost all of them still to this day.
Really?
They're yeah. I started with 6 people, and I still have 5 of them.
That's crazy, especially in that world, because the turnover in that environment or in that industry is nuts. Like everybody except for you and Philip. Like you and Philip are kind of the exception because you're the business owners. But I know a ton of people in that industry that it's like, oh, where do you work this week? Like
Right.
whether it be the emotional, the drama within or whatever. I don't know. Like I didn't go that far into it whenever I went to hair school, but like, so, I mean, that kind of leads me. So obviously the model of your business is functioning, it's working, it's going. And to hear that is kind of a testament to your, like the environment that that you guys offer. Like what is the vibe? If I were an employee there, what would I feel the employees brought to the table? Would I feel like a sense of family, or how does that work with you guys?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so cliche to say like, "Oh, we're all family here," right? But we spend more waking hours with each other than we do with our own kids and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends and whatever, right?
Right.
Like, we have to be. And I try to play the game of, I have my hobbies. I know what I like to do. And if somebody told me I can't do them, or I need to work more hours and take away personal things that, get me off, I'm not going to respect that. Like, so basically my business model is work as much or as little as you want. And if you're not making enough money, don't come griping to me about it. Like, I will help you. I will plan your future with you. If you want to make this amount of money, I will tell you how many clients you have to see every day and what your average cost per ticket has to be, and yada. I can do numbers all day long.
Which I
But
think it's so it's a little bit of like it's like a nurturing, tough love kind of mentality, right?
well,
So
it's definitely not tough love. I don't think it's more like it's realistic. Like, I want you to do the things that you want to do, but I also want to help you make enough money to where you can do the things that you want to do.
right, and you
So,
can't
like,
do the work for them.
right? What do you want to do? How much do you want to make? And I will help you get to that point. And then it's just 50,000 a year divided by 52 months out of the year, or 52 weeks out of the year, and it's a numbers game at that point.
Right.
It's like, this is what you have to do to be able to do that. How many hours a day do you have? You want to work four days a week instead of 5? Great, let's do that. Like, it's this open-minded.
And then you can engineer what your needs are as a business owner off that.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
and the reason I said tough love, it's a little bit like tough love, is because, what did you say? Like, if you aren't willing to put the work out, well, then don't come bitching to me.
Right.
So
Absolutely,
you're
yeah.
nurturing that. You're being a leader in that capacity, but
Right.
at the end of the day, they got to put the work in.
Sure. And let's not forget, we're dealing with creative-minded people. You have to manage creative people differently than non-creative people, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, something else makes everybody tick differently, right?
Right. Well, and in my industry, I'm dealing with artists. You tell Lady Gaga she can't wear a dress with stakes pinned all over it to the Grammys, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how that's artistic people in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're a whole nother breed, and they're beautiful, and they're hardworking as long as they get what they're passionate about.
They get that outlet.
Right.
And I think I'm definitely one of those people too, you know, like, which is weird because I work in what I do, you know, like being in the military, everything, there's a regulation for it. Like, how do I do this? Oh, look up the regulation. It'll tell you. And so I think in that capacity, my hands are tied professionally. But outside of work, you know, I've had to find different ways. And I mean, what am I doing right now? You know, I'm doing a podcast because it's something that I can work on. It's something it's malleable. It's something I can build, and I can put it up on the internet, and I can say, look what I did. You know, like I created that. And you know, when I was living in Japan, Lacey said, hey, we should start vlogging. And I said, that is the dumbest, most narcissistic idea I've ever heard in my life. Never going to do it. And I realized there was a way to do it that would give me that kind of creative outlet of, you know, like the cinematography side of things. Next thing I know, you know, in 3 years, we did like 140 videos, put them up on YouTube, and got like a quasi decent following, made a little bit of money off of it. And, you know, but more than anything, I got to capture my memories of my family from that time. So,
Right.
you know, that whole, I can only imagine like having to, you know, manage creatives in their own environment though. You know, nobody manages me in the creative things I do, but you have to manage them and kind of keep them on pace so that they don't just go off the rafters and show up wearing a, you know, a meat dress or something like that.
Right. Well, I mean, there's obviously mutual respect from each one of us, right? So, I mean, they know that I will always have their back. Like if there's a confrontation with, you know, I don't like my hair, or, you know, whatever, there's disgruntled clients everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's a difficult industry to please the customer.
Right. And I always have your back, always, regardless of what they say. What I am on your team.
Right.
And if you need anybody to come in and go to bat, I'm your guy. And they all know that.
And that builds the loyalty that obviously
For
you got
sure.
by maintaining all those employees.
Yeah.
Super cool.
We have fun. We listen to good music, and we have fun, and, you know, everybody's making more money there than they've ever made before.
That's awesome.
Every single person is earning more than they ever have.
That's end of the day. That's what it's all about. So
Yeah.
What's next? Are you guys just, do you guys have any hopes of opening another store or expanding or maybe a new location, or what's the growth, the growth plan?
Definitely now we want to do more. We want more salons, but my next passion, or well, not my next passion, it's been my passion for the last 2 years, and I just haven't grown the stones to do it yet, but I want to open a barber shop, an old school rock and roll barber shop with Hustler magazines on the table, and, you know,
Classy
guitars
stuff,
hanging
right?
on the walls, and definitely not classy stuff. No. No, I want the real deal old school barber shop, you know.
That would be awesome. Like, and it's funny that there is such an industry for that now, you know, like,
Oh, for sure.
there was a place when I lived in Omaha called Scotch and Soda, and it was, you know, it was like the home of like the $50 men's haircut, which, you know, I'm bald now. I just shave my head. So I had no reason to go there, but I had a buddy that went, and he's like, dude, I wish you had hair so you could go, because it is the most incredible experience ever. He's like, you're there for like an hour and a half. You drink like an amazing scotch. They give you this killer massage. They, you know, but the fact that men are seeking that pampering, or, you know, that specialized, you know, form of treatment, I think definitely is a swing big time for.
Yeah.
And there's a great opportunity for you there.
Yeah, guys have needs too.
I got needs. That's awesome, man. So what kind of timeline are you thinking about for that, maybe?
Well, 2 years ago, about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just growing the stones to do it. It's, you know, saying screw it, let's go. There's 2 ways that I think that it could happen. I could develop pre-develop a staff. So then whenever I pull the trigger, I've already got the staff lined up, or I could go Field of Dreams on everybody and say, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
I don't really, I'm not super comfortable doing that, but when I hire somebody at the flagship salon, they get so busy with everyday clients, it's hard for me to say, okay, now I'm going to take you away from that.
Yeah, like they don't have the bandwidth for it.
Right. So there's only so many hours in every day, and you know they're busy doing female customers, so I can't really take them away to do a low cost per ticket male client. So
Right. Because
I don't know.
on the
Maybe
male
I'll buy
side, the male side, it's more of a volume business, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So maybe I'll try to find an old barber shop that has 3 or 4 guys in it that can be trainable and workable, and you know, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Either way, it's exciting.
It's not an
you
if,
know?
it's a when.
Right. You know, having that dream and that goal is exciting. So you've touched a little bit on your wife, Tara.
Right.
So what is she?
Total badass, by the way.
Oh yeah, total smoke show too, man. I remember last time I saw you was we went and saw Foo Fighters in Kansas City.
Yep.
I remember you looked over and you're like, we're a bunch of couple lucky bastards, aren't we? And I was like, yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
It's
neither one of us deserve what we got.
No. It's definitely great to have have what we got. So where's Tara fall in line with the salon? Is she still have her own career still, or is she partnered with you now, or how's that work?
Well, she's always been partnered with me, yeah. But she does still work full time.
She's doing pharmaceutical sales, right?
Surgical. So she sells surgical devices to hospitals. So she's in the OR watching the surgeries happen and, you know, assisting with what she sells. I don't know exactly what it is, but she's super smart. She's, you know, eventually she will be full time with me once we get to that point. But for now, she's working and
she's dual
carrying
having
benefits and, you know, 401ks and, you know, yeah, insurance is expensive. So
no kidding. That's why I stay in the military, because it's free.
she helps me out when and where she can, and you know, she knows a lot about what I do on a day-to-day basis, and you know, she's retaining bits of information, so she can eventually step in and run the business side, and I can run the people side, kind of thing.
Right. And then she's also on top of, you know, all those accolades and her personal professional life and, you know, helping you with, you know, keep your business afloat. She found time to give you 2 kids.
Yep.
Unbelievable,
Awesome
right?
kids. Yeah.
I don't know how that works. Like,
I don't know how somebody grows a human being inside of their body and then like puts them out into the world. That blows my mind.
and then just totally like rises to the occasion to be the most nurturing person ever. Yeah. Like,
Yep.
I think about it every day. Like, Lacey is absolute super mom, you know, like I'm here away from them for a year and she's totally picking up the slack of my absence. And I'm totally fortunate, and I know you are too. So tell me about your kids though. Like what ages are they now, and like what makes them tick? What are they into?
All right. So Gavin is turning 9 on Wednesday. And he is the most high energy, ready to go at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then will like not want to go to sleep at midnight. Go all the time. He's fired up. He's ready to roll.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like he's basically like, for me and you on the side, he's like Philip.
Oh yeah.
Just like
say no
ready,
more.
like he's on the balls of his feet all the time. Like let's go. Um, he's really funny. He reads joke books. So if he ever thinks that you're down and out, he'll come up to me and start rubbing my arm, like giving me an arm massage, and tell me a joke. Like super keen on emotions and how people are feeling, and super hilarious.
That's awesome.
He's really good at golf.
Yeah, because you said you were gonna do his birthday at Top Golf, which I thought was kind of funny for a 9-year-old's birthday.
Yeah, he's really good. He was on the junior PGA league for a golf course here in Kansas City last year,
Wow.
which basically that is they play matches against other golf courses in town, and kind of made the best man win. So he was the youngest kid on the team this last summer, and he was awesome.
Too cool.
Yeah, so he loves that. For Christmas, we got him. I have a Roland SPD SX pad, which is like the for the non gearheads out there. It's got 12 pads on it. And it's drum simulator, right? Like a programming machine to create loops and whatnot. So I had one, and I gave it to him, and my parents got him a little PA speaker, powered PA speaker. We got him a mic, and so he's got a little recording studio essentially in his room. Loves music, loves golf. Super fun. So
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that one of your kids has the bug.
both of them actually have it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So Jet is my younger one. He's 4. He is probably going to be the rock star. Like this kid, if you say jump off the roof of the house right now, he's going to climb a ladder up to the roof and say, "Watch this, Dad." No, he's fucking crazy. But we shouldn't have named him Jet because he's owning up to it for sure. Crazy.
So he's more high strung than Gavin?
No, Gavin's energy to the max.
Okay.
But Jet's fearless.
Okay.
Jet's like, yeah, sure, I'll fight you. Let's go.
That's crazy.
He's not gonna amp up over it. He's like, well, I guess if you want to fight, I'll kick your ass.
Isn't it so weird like how different they're gonna be? There's a part of you that expects them to be kind of like little, and as a parent, like you expect that your kids are gonna be, a stamp of the other one, but then
no, they're
polar opposites. Total polar opposites.
Right. So I have 2 drum sets set up in the basement.
Okay.
I've got my old CNCs with the big 36-inch kick drum and total Bonham kit.
Right.
And that's Gavin will play that one. And then I've got another. You remember that old Pearl Master custom set that I have, like the little 20-inch bass drum and
yeah.
The natural wood one.
Yep.
So that's sitting up right next to it, which is another cool story that I have to tell here in a minute. So they're set up next door to each other downstairs, and the 2 kids will get on there. They'll just total bash them. They'll go crazy on them.
Just murdering them.
Oh yeah. So that's fun to watch. But the story that I have to tell about the Pearl kit, probably in 2004 or 5, I sold this drum set to I sold him in probably 2001 to this kid that I taught how to play drums, give him a couple drum lessons, whatever. So on my 30th birthday, Tara threw me a surprise party in Springfield. And Mickey was there, Brandon was there. Were you there? Or were you already out?
I think we were in California, but I remember getting an invite and being like, "Oh man, that'd be so fun to go."
So it was at Fox and the Hound in Springfield, and I walked in, and everybody was surprised. Tara found this drum set, or Tara asked my dad about this drum set, and my dad contacted the guy, and Tara bought the drum set back from this guy for me for my 30th birthday.
Unreal.
And they were set up in the corner of this bar in Springfield.
That is too cool, dude.
I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, like how does she even get those stars to align,
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. She's an absolute gem. Yeah.
So cool. Well, we'll kind of wrap things up here a little bit. Where can people find you? Like your salon or like do you have a social media presence at all or anything like that?
Yeah, Salon Metric, Leaf Point, Missouri. Don't ask me what the handles are or any of that stuff because I don't look at it. I don't deal with it. I'm anti social media. So yeah, Salon Metric, Lee Summit. Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It was amazing to catch up with you and just kind of hear some things. It's weird, like I said before. You know, there was a time where like I would have loved to have talked to you about stuff, but I feel like it was a weird time to kind of cover down on feelings related to those times that we definitely shared and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool to reminisce on some of that stuff now. And but yeah, can't thank you enough for doing this. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. And as you've drank a pot of coffee during this, I've drank a bottle of wine. So that's
An
fun.
entire bottle, huh?
Well, 2/3 of a bottle. I think Tara had a glass out of it.
Piece of cake.